Hey, Classe, Senior Boyle here. I just wanted to take a little bit of time and talk to you about what you're doing with the ripasso. And I'm going to put that up on the screen right now. It looks like this, right? Chapter one. And I told you, I promised you, I don't want you to forget this, okay? I promised you that this course will not be boring like this. It'll be more exciting. There's a lot of cool things to study. I'm hoping that soon we can get back together and really have an amazing experience together. But until then, we're going to work like this, remotely. But even the ripasso can be kind of silly and goofy and fun a little bit. We'll try to make it that way anyway. I don't want to spend time reading this because you've read it, hopefully, and or at least you remember how to do present tense verbs in ARE or an IR. Okay, here are the notes that you took last year. You know how it works, but I just wanted to quickly review something. The present tense. If something's in the present tense, it can mean a couple of different things. It can mean that you do something as a habit, right? For example, tocas el piano. It's a fact. You play the piano. It's a habit, right? We're just saying you do it often. But it's also kind of like saying you're playing the piano, tocas el piano. So you could come home from school and say, hey, what's mom doing? Mom's doing dishes. You could say, lava los platos. You could say it like that. You could say, mamá está lavando los platos, meaning she is washing the dishes right now. But you could just say, as a general thing, you're playing the piano, mom's washing dishes, I'm doing my homework. What are you doing? Hago la tarea. I'm doing homework. Okay. The second thing, remember that when you're asking a question, if you want to write out a question or ask a question, you can put the subject of that verb after the verb. So, trabajan ustedes aquí? In English, we use the word do, but in Spanish, we put the subject after the verb. But if you put it before the verb, ustedes trabajan aquí, just use intonation. Look, raise the pitch of your voice, and we all know it's a question. Here's another thing that the present tense means. Hablamos del tema ahora. Shall we talk about the topic? I mean, we don't use the word shall too much in modern English. We say, should we, or do you want to? Do you want to talk about this now, or should we talk about this right now? Should I hand in the report? And we could just use present tense. Entrego el informe. Do I do this? Do I hand in the report? Um, and the last thing I want to say is that present tense refers to something that's going to happen really soon. So, mando la carta mañana. I'll send the letter tomorrow. It's not that I will send it. I guess I will send it tomorrow, but I'll send it tomorrow. Don't worry. It's kind of a casual, informal way of saying you're going to do something soon. Vera's having dinner with me on Friday. Vera cena conmigo el viernes. Vera dines with me on Friday. Okay, so it's near future. Now, these last few bullets with hacer and time, we didn't really ask you to do any exercises with those yet. We'll talk about those later. So don't worry about them right now. They're a little tricky, but they're not too bad. And then you got a whole bunch of cool vocab here. Look at all this vocab. Wow. AR, ER, IR verbs. You didn't know there were so many, right? Number one, letter A. Very easy. Just take Daniel. He's the subject. Take the verb pronunciar and conjugate it, and then add muy bien. And you have Daniel pronuncia muy bien. Now, you need to, if the like I said in the directions, if the text asks you to write a sentence, which it does, okay, and all the directions are in Spanish, right? En la clase de español, escriba lo que pasa en la clase de español del profesor Sierra. Write what happens in Professor Sierra's Spanish class. Construct sentences in the present following the model, according to the model. We have students slash hablar español. So we have los estudiantes hablan español. This is what this means. It means you are building sentences. You are making sentences. If the text tells you to write a sentence, you got to type a sentence out. Okay? Don't throw tomatoes at me for that. Don't just put the word pronuncia. It's not good enough. Number 2, nosotros abrimos el libro de texto. Right? These are easy. Okay, let's go to the next one. What we're asking you here is, en esta clase, ¿qué va? In this class, what's going on? Use the present to write the sentences, the things that never happen in Professor Reyes's class. Follow the model. We have a question. Do students shout? Students never shout, right? All right. Do you run? Now here's the thing. If I ask you all, ustedes, a question, ¿ustedes corren or corren ustedes? Do y'all run? What's the answer? No, we never run. It's not ustedes anymore. I asked you, and you are nosotros. So the answer to number 1 is nosotros nunca corremos. How about this one? Number 4. Do I jump? Do I skip? No, you never skip. The answer is tú. Number 6. Do you interrupt? ¿Interrumpes tú? Never. I never interrupt. It's a yo form answer. Nunca interrumpo. Okay, let's go to this one. We said you're doing 5, which start with these 5 starters. Pick one of these, A through K, and you're going to have some you don't use. So sentence starter, conjugate your verb, and tell us that somebody does something and somebody doesn't do something. So my history professor, he teaches well, but he doesn't wait much for us. Okay, so the gymnastics teachers or the phys ed teachers jog, but they never write on the board. This is what you want to say. Okay, check this out. We have the parents and the siblings of Cecilia plan the fiesta, the party. These are easy because you know what verb to use, and all you got to do is figure out who the subject is. And in this case, it's the padres and los hermanos. It's an ellos form verb, and it's an AR verb. So change AR to AN. So we have los padres y los hermanos de Cecilia planean la fiesta. Mom cooks Cecilia's favorite dishes. La mamá cocina los platos favoritos de Cecilia. Easy stuff, right? Okay, this next one. This is partly why I'm doing this video. This is 90% of the reason why I'm doing this video, because letter E belongs in a museum. So what is a lío telefónico? This is a telephone disaster, a telephone mess. Okay, let's read the directions. Mario necesita llamar a su novia para decirle que no puede llegar a su casa a las 7. Mario needs to call his girlfriend to tell her that he can't get there by 7. Para saber lo que pasa, escoja los verbos correctos de la lista y escríbalos en la forma correcta del presente en los espacios en blanco. In order to know what's going on, lo que pasa, what is happening, remember, lo que is what, right? Or the thing that, or that which. So in order to know that which is happening or what's happening, escoja, choose. Choose the verbs, the correct verbs from the list, and escríbalos. Write them. What are them? the verbs in the correct form of the present tense in the spaces on your sheet. Los espacios en blanco. All right, these are the on the lines. All right, let's talk about this vocab for a second. Marcar is to dial a phone, type on a phone. Have you ever called someplace and it says, for English, press 1. Para español, marca el dos. So for Spanish, dial 2, click 2, uh, press 2, whatever. So it's a telephone verb. Deber is ought to, should, or must. Decidir is to decide. Contestar is to answer. Buscar is to look for. Esperar is to wait for, to hope for, or to expect. Meter is to insert. Okay, now back in the day we had telephone booths and we didn't have cell phones, and that's how old this book is. And so in order to make a phone call, you had to take back really when I was like a sophomore in high school, it was a dime, and then somehow they decided it had to be a quarter. So they made you put a quarter in, but they would say to make a call, insert a dime. So this verb meter is to insert because you're putting something into a small slot. Quedar is like the verb estar, to remain or to be located somewhere. Remember the Devil's Minor? We said, the house is on the slope of the mountain. And we said, el chozo queda en, on the slope of the mountain. So quedar is like estar, to be located. Desear is to desire or wish. Creer, to believe. Funcionar is to function or work. So, for example, my car is working. Well, you wouldn't use the verb trabajar, you would use the verb funcionar because if it's functioning, it's working, but it's not doing a trabajar. Only human beings can trabajar. Comunicar is to communicate. Dejar is to leave, to let or leave. And tardar is to be late or take a long time. Okay, now how many questions are there? 15. How many vocab words are there? 14. You're gonna have to use you're gonna have to use one twice. And I think it's pretty clear which one. All right, let's do this. Let's help you out. Number 1 and 2 are one sentence. Mario blank to call his girlfriend Isabel to tell her that blank for their date. See, part of the thing is you need to know what they're saying. You're going to have to look up a lot of words. And you know what? I really think the best way to look up words is word reference. All right, you're like, I don't know what a cita is. Guess what? Keep this open. Boom. There it is. Cita. It's an appointment, a date, a meeting, a romantic date. Okay. So, you got to kind of take the resources that you've been given and utilize them. I would have a window open all the time if I were you with word reference. Be typing those things in, figure out what stuff is. Here's another thing too. What if you run into something like this? We have the verb decirle. Really, it's the verb decir. Let's see what happens if you type in decirle. I honestly don't know. Okay, did you mean? And it gives you a bunch of things. Okay, so look at this list here. This list might be helpful. Decirle. I'll just see what happens if I do this. Well, decir. I'm just going to hit it. There it is. To say or tell, and I think you probably remember that from last year. Okay. All right. So Mario blank to call his girlfriend Isabel. He wishes to call her. He wants to call her. Desear. So we're going to say Mario desea llamar a su novia Isabel para decirle que blank for their date. He's calling her to tell her that he's going to be late. So we have the verb tardar. So para decirle que, now Mario did this verb. Mario did the first one. Mario is doing the second one. He's an L, so we're going to say tarda. Number 2 is tarda. So Mario desea llamar a su novia Isabel para decirle que tarda para su cita. Number 3, he blanks a cabina telefónica. What is a cabina telefónica? It's a telephone booth. I mean, think of Superman gets in a telephone booth, turns into Superman. Well, back in the day, we had telephone booths. I told you this exercise should be in a museum. Anyway, he looks for, searches for a telephone booth, period. Blank one on the corner. Number 4, blank one on the corner. There is one on the corner. One remains. There is. So I would say Keda. That was probably one of the harder ones. Kedar is. There is one on the corner. Number 5, Mario puts in a coin. A moneda is a coin. He inserts a coin and dials the number. So we have number 5 would be mete. Number 6 would be marca. Number 7, they don't blank at Isabel's house. They don't answer. They don't answer the phone at Isabel's house. No contesta en casa de Isabel. Number 8, Mario blank that blank dejar un recado y blank escuchar la contestadora. Oh my gosh. So Mario thinks that he should leave a message, a recado is a message, and waits to listen to the answering machine. All right, so number 8 ought to be cree. Mario cree que debe dejar un recado. He ought to leave a message, and he waits to listen to the answering machine. Espera escuchar la contestadora. Number 11, but the answering machine isn't working. But the contestadora no funciona. And Mario, right, remember, you've never experienced this, but when the answer machine if the phone rings and it rings and rings and rings and rings and the answer machine doesn't come on, you got to hang up and dial again. And guess what? You got to put in another coin. So Mario puts in another coin, and this is the meter. This is the one you use twice. So Mario mete otra moneda. And this time it seems like they, right, that they would communicate or leave the phone off the hook. This is so weird. So 13 is comunican, 14 is dejan, and 15, I'm sorry, that they would comunican, dejan, descolgado, and 15 is finally Mario decides to run to Isabel's house. It's decide. Okay, so if you were getting stuck on that, everybody gets stuck on that, and we like to talk about the old days with phone booths and Superman and running to get your date. And nowadays, you just pick up the cell phone, man. Just text them. You know, stuff is old. Get a new textbook, senior. Okay, listen. Today, just work on these. If you finished it, great. If you want to just double check your work, that's great too. Thanks for listening to this video, and see you tomorrow.